So while in the sporting good store, Howard found some running shoes advertised to weigh only 70% as much as old running shoes. His old shoes weighed 0.8 kilograms. So they're going to weigh less. They only weigh 70% of what his old ones did. So they're going to weigh 30% less. Use the problem below to determine how much these new shoes will weigh. So I'm going to use our 100's grid to find 70% of 0.8. All right. Hold on, I got to go back and get my resource page. All right. Oops. So 70, we want to do 70% of 0.8. All right. So I'm going to start right here. So just a reminder, we're doing 70% of 0.8 kilograms. All right. So remember in math, this word of means to multiply. So I can kind of take this out, and in its place, I can put a multiplication symbol. Now, 70%. So remember, this is a 100 grid. So I'm going to shade in 70 of them, or same thing as 70 over 100. So there is 10 of them, 20 of them, 30 of them, 40 of them, 50, 60, 70. So that's 70% times 0.8. Now, 0.8, remember, is 8/10. So when we shade, we have to go the other direction. So we're going to go this way. So here's where we get 10th. Notice that there's 10 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or if you can think of this as, if we can move this up to 100, multiply the bottom by 10, top by 10. So we're going to shade in 80 of the little boxes. So however you want to think about it, it's fine, but we got to shade in 8/10. So I'm going to go this direction, because remember, go the other way. So there is 1/10, there's 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, and here is 8/10. All right, so notice 70% this way, which is the same thing as 70 over 100. So I shaded in 70 of the little squares this way, and then I did 8/10. So I did 8 of them this way. Now notice how many of them are double shaded. All right, so that's what we're looking for. So I've got 1, 2, 3. Let me count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on, I keep losing track here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them here. So everyone has 7, and I have 8 of these rows. So it'd be 7 plus 7 plus 7. I can do that 8 times, or 7 times 8, which would be 56. So I have 56 of them that are double shaded. So what is 70% of 0.8? Well, it is 0.56. All right, because 56 of them are double shaded. So once again, 70 out of 100 I did this way. I did 8/10 or 80 out of 100 going this way. We find out how many of them are double shaded, and I find out there's 56 of them. So remember, this is a 100 grid, so it'll be 56 hundredths. So his new shoes, how much are they going to weigh? 0.56 kilograms. Because remember, they weighed 70% of the 0.8. We found that out to be 0.56. So they definitely weigh less. All right, so what else do we want to do on this question? Hold on, 0.8, 0.56. All right. Whoops, wrong one. So use a 100's grid to find that. So we did, and we found out that it was 56 hundredths, or 0.56. Write a fraction equation for this problem. All right. Well, here this is. We're going to write this as a fraction. So let's see. 70% means, I'm not sure why it will not let me get back to this to write, but it won't. Well, that's not very nice. I wonder if I can pause it or unpause it. Okay. Well, I guess I have to go back to the other sheet and write. So it wants us to write this as a fraction first of all. All right, so let's see if it's going to let me up. It'll let me write over here. So I'm going to write this over in this spot. So remember our original was this, 70% of 8/10. And the question they want us to do is they want us to write it as a fraction. Well, percent means out of 100. So that would be 70 over 100 times, because of means times, and then this is a fraction, that's the tenths place, so this is 8/10 equals, and when we did the math, we found out that 56, whoops, sorry, we want to write that as a fraction, don't we? So it was 56 hundredths, so as a fraction, that would be 56 out of the 100. There is our equation as a fraction. If I was writing this, I'd probably reduce and make this into a 7/10 times 8/10, just kind of make the numbers a little bit nicer. And we found out that that was 56 hundredths. And if we multiply, we'll notice that we do get 56 over 100. All right, so that was writing it as a fraction. Now they want me to write the decimal equivalent of this. All right, so we're going to do that same thing, but they want me to write this as decimals. So this is a decimal. Well, remember when I change a percent to a decimal, we just slide it 2 spots to the right. So that's going to be 0.7 is the same as 70%. Of means to multiply, and that was already as a decimal, is 0.8. And I found out my answer was 56 hundredths, so that is 56 hundredths. And notice if we would do the math, 7 times 8 is 56, 2 decimal places, so we'd move our decimal place to the left. All right, notice these answers mean exactly the same thing. They're both 56 hundredths. The last question, do the new shoes weigh more or less than the old shoes? All right. Well, the weight of the new shoes is 56 hundredths. The old shoes were 0.8, so they definitely weigh less. All right. And we should have thought they're going to weigh less because they were 70% of what the old ones were. So, of course, they're going to be less. All right. Remember, they're going to be 30% less. Hopefully that helps.